Now, you think that any legislation will come out of this at any point?
Oh, well, we need to. Well, this is one of the reasons why we need a not-for-profit health care system, get all these privatizers out of there so we don't have these little children who can't get the health care even though the government's paying for it. We've got to end all for-profit medicine in this country. Has to be ended. We have to have health care like Canada or the UK or all these other countries where health care is a basic right. That's what we have to do. Stop for-profit health care. Everybody knows that these insurance companies make money not providing health care. So that's one piece of legislation that could help. Now, on subprime loans, let me tell you, there ought to be criminal prosecution of the banks. You know, they conspired to avoid the Community Reinvestment Act, which was supposed to be enforced so people in inner city areas could get access to credit for their homes and their businesses. Never enforced, okay? The Fed didn't do its job. Securities and Exchange Commission saw all this trading going on in these subprime loans. They didn't do the inspection to see that the underlying premise of the subprime loans was basically an investment scheme. A lot of people got cheated out of money that they put into to buy a home. See, I want to see home ownership right restored to people. I want to see an individual right of recovery for legal action against these investment firms and against the banks and financial institutions that cheated people. Now, the government passed a bill recently, our Congress passed a bill, that takes away the state attorney general's right to be able to engage in action. That bill was wrong. I want to see the full power of the Justice Department go to work on behalf of those who were cheated out of their homes, those who got trapped into these investment schemes. I want the government to reinstitute a position where we make sure that everyone has a chance to own a home in this country, in this United States of America. That ought to be a basic right. Having a roof over your head, having health care and education. If you can't do that in a democratic society, then what is the government about? Except a racket to give money to arms manufacturers and the oil companies and all these interest groups on Wall Street.
The richest country in the world.
Oh, it's the richest country in the world, but the wealth's going upward.
Yes.
See, I'm all for capitalism as long as everyone has a chance to be a capitalist. I am all for capitalism. Let each person have a job and become a capitalist and be able to make their way. So I believe in making sure we have jobs for everyone. We've got to have opportunities for all. People want jobs. Wherever I go in the cities, people say, I want a job, and let's make it possible. I want to rebuild America like Roosevelt did, a new WGA, or a WPA. I've introduced legislation, H.R. 3400, which I believe you're co-sponsor of. And that bill will rebuild America, rebuild our bridges, our water systems, our sewer systems, mass transit, our educational facilities, our libraries. Create millions of jobs, put people to work, good-paying jobs, give them a chance to feed their families. I mean, that's what America ought to be about. Shouldn't be about war, shouldn't be about trying to knock off other governments for oil. We should be about taking care of our own people here.
How do we move to insure these children? S-chip seems not to be the answer.
Well, that's my health plan. H.R. 676 covers everyone. Cradle to the grave. Covered. No more premiums, co-pays, or deductibles. Here's how it works. People say, how in the world are you going to pay for it? We're already paying for a universal standard of care. We're not getting it. 1 out of every $3 goes to corporate profits, stock options, executive salaries, advertising, marketing, cost of paperwork, 15 to 30% in the private sector. $700 billion a year goes to the for-profit system. They're taking a cut out of every health care dollar. 1/3 out of every health care dollar goes for profit. I want to take that money and put it back into the system so it's used for care. You know what we'll have enough money for? To cover everyone, every child covered, glasses, dental care, mental health care. All those are, things that are not well funded these days. Long-term care, prescription drugs, all covered. That's my plan. That's a Conyers bill that I'm a co-sponsor of, that I'm the co-author of, H.R. 676. Let me tell you a story about this. I grew up in the inner city. We didn't understand dental care. Dental care was something only rich people had, okay? So this smile, very expensive smile. Very expensive. I put a lot of dentist children through college, okay, with this smile. Wow. Because when we were growing up, we didn't think about dental care. My dentist was a jawbreaker. That little gumball you chew up, that's how my teeth, were removed when I had a problem. I'm telling you, I know what people go through. And because I know what people go through, I'm saying we've got to see to it that dental care is covered in a health bill, that vision care for children and everyone covered, that prescription drugs paid for, long-term care covered, AIDS covered, diabetes covered, obesity help covered, all these things covered. There's so many people that are hurting right now. We've got to have a health care system that addresses their needs, and that's what my plan does.
You know, when people refer to you and they say, well, Kucinich, has great ideas. He's a maverick. How do you respond to that? He has great ideas, but he's such a maverick. I'm not sure that he'll be able to get any of this done because of the fact that he's not able to form a coalition. He's not able to put people together, even though the idea is a good one. What do you say to that?
Well, a coalition of people who don't do right is a larger number of people who don't do right.
Yeah, it's just a big number.
Yeah, it's a big number.
Of people that don't do right. Yeah.
Look, any one of us who wants to achieve anything must have the courage of our convictions. And I look to the mavericks that I've seen that have inspired me. I think some people have said Jesus was kind of a maverick. Gandhi was a maverick. Dr. King was a maverick. I mean, any of us, and I'm not comparing myself to any of them, but I'm saying, though, that I look to the icons in our culture, the people we look up to. There are people who weren't afraid to take on the status quo, who looked at things and they said, this is wrong, whether it's chasing the money changers out of the temple, or whether it's a march to the sea so that people could make their own salt, or whether it's a civil rights march over a bridge and bringing people together and challenging the discrimination that existed in the 50s and 60s. That's what inspires me. When I see that, I say, I can do that. I can stand up. I take my lessons from some great people. And so I'm inspired to take a stand. I can't be bullied. I can't be bossed. I can't be told that I have to do something because I'm standing alone. At some point or another in our lives, we all have to stand alone. We come into this world, generally, unless we're twins, alone. We leave this world alone. What we do in between, sometimes we have to stand alone, but Walt Whitman must wrote, I have multitudes of humanity within me. There's a sense in which we all represent something that's universal, that we connect the community. I see the world as one. I see the world as being interconnected and interdependent. I see human unity as being an imperative. And because I see the world that way, every decision I make is with the thought to, how does it help other people?
Well, let me thank you for, first of all, your views. I mean, your involvement in civil rights. I mean, that's something that I've always watched you and have been impressed with the fact that, and your ability to fight for the underdog. And of course, now that I understand in terms of your own background, you have gone through a lot of this, and that's the reason why you're so compassionate about it. And I want you, and I think that your statement sometimes might not move people right then, but when they stop and they listen, then I'm certain that in days to come, they will understand that you are for the underdog and you are not afraid to speak out for them. And I want you to know it's great to have you on News and Views, and we hope that you continue to fight, because that's what we need.
Well,
and we need to bring our troops home. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you very much.
That war should be ended. Thank you so much for being on News and Views. It's a pleasure. I want you to know that. And you're right. That war must end. We can't do the things we need to do home until we bring our troops home.
It's an honor to serve with you, Congressman Ed Towns. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have been watching Political News and Views with Congressman Ed Towns of the 10th Congressional District of New York. If you have any questions or comments regarding this program, please write care of Congressman Ed Towns, U.S. Capitol, Washington, D.C. 20515, or call 202-225-5936.